Skies all open wide, geese go high and over. Oh, now you're a beachcomber, a fistful of sandfire, sea, lavender, see you next year.
Thanks for listening to the September episode of the Deepdale Podcast. I'm Jason, and I've loved putting together this 3-part podcast, chatting to so many amazing artists who are joining us at Deepdale Festival 2022. This is part 3, and I chat with Alton Wahlberg, Josie Field, David from East Angles Brass, The Miracle Cure, Griff from Elizabeth and Jameson, and Joel from Sunday Driver. Each band has let us play a sample of a chosen track, so big thank you to them all. We hope you'll come and join us at Deepdale Festival 2022 from Thursday the 22nd to Sunday the 25th of September. You can find the full programme and ticket information on deepdalefestival.co.uk. Enjoy the listen and come back for parts 1 and 2 and the other episodes of Deepdale Podcast. So I'm chatting with Alton Wahlberg. He is a regular at Deepdale Festival because he brings not only himself and his guitar, but he brings the AWM Showcase, which is basically a whole bunch of really fantastic artists who he works with and promotes and helps develop, and he puts together these showcases for us on Sunday, and it's on the Orchard, and it's really worth coming along and seeing some fantastic talent. So we've got Alton, we've got Brooke Telling, we've got Dusky Sunday, we've got Eddie Pocock, False Colours, and Will Foley as part of this year's AWM showcase. Lovely to chat with you, Alton. Welcome to the Deepdale Podcast, and I'm looking forward to seeing you at the festival.
Thanks for having me again. It's come around quick.
I know it seems like forever and no time at all at the same time. It's weird, isn't it?
Totally. Yeah. It seems like 5 minutes ago we were on that awkward stage.
And how's the creative process been going with all the weird and wonderfulness of COVID and all that sort of stuff? Are you finding it a good artistic time or a frustrating artistic time?
I think for most people I speak to seem to find it quite sort of quite inspiring, and they're producing a lot of content. For me, it was kind of the opposite, because a lot of the songs that I write are about stories about people I meet, and when you go out and about on your travels, especially if I'm busking and people, things like that, you quite often get chatting to people, and a lot of my songs come from stories from that I get told, and meeting different people and being inspired by what's going on and their events and things like that. So a lot of the stuff I write is all to do with that. But because obviously throughout that whole lockdown period, there wasn't a chance to be out and about and talking to people and getting these stories. So for me, actually, it was a bit weird. I wrote a few bits and pieces. I actually released an EP that I wrote during lockdown, as I think most people did, because there was just nothing else to do. But I much prefer being out and about, and I definitely create more content when I'm around people and being a part of these little stories and journeys and things. That's where I think my best stuff comes from. So it's nice that we're out of that now and I can get back out and meet these kind of people,
Excellent. And tell me a bit about the AWM showcase. Kind of, how did that kind of come about originally, and how do you meet the artists?
So it all started off a good few years ago now. It was basically, I always found, the story behind it is when I was sort of trying to break through and I was trying to release music, I found it very hard to kind of get the gigs, to get any support. And I would often look at the people who were on the sort of level above me, and I'd ask them for help. Like, how do I get to play these kind of gigs? How do I get to do this? And what's the best way to reach an audience? And it was very hard to get any information. It didn't seem like people were really willing to sort of help out, really. You'd get a few bits of advice here and there. Most people would just say, keep plugging away, and that's it, which is not really supportive and that productive. So it kind of, I always found that quite frustrating. I found that the music industry was I don't know, it frustrated me that there wasn't enough help and support out there for people, and I didn't know where to go. So as soon as, and then obviously throughout over the years, my music career sort of developed, and I started carrying on. And eventually I got to the point where, I was getting these nice gigs and playing these lovely places like Deepdale and this kind of stuff. And so I kind of decided, what, I'll be the one who helps these people out. So I set up a little program just to kind of support. I built up my social media audience and that kind of stuff. And I thought what I'll start doing is I'll just start featuring up and coming performers on my page, just to give them a bit of a boost and just to kind of share them with my followers and just help them out a little bit, really. And then it developed from there, just from featuring them to actually doing collaboration songs with them. So I'd get young sort of singer-songwriters come to me and say, can we do a collaboration? And I'd always say, yeah, absolutely. So we'd get together and we'd film a little video or a song, and I'd help promote it on their channel. And then from there, it went on to not just collaborating and playing songs together, but actually running gigs where I could feature some of these as support artists. A lot of them were sort of young up and coming artists that only had 3 or 4 songs but didn't know what to do with them or where to play, because it's tricky to get gigs when you've only got a few songs, because most places want you to play for an hour or a couple of hours. So I started doing these little small showcase events where these artists could come and just play 2 or 3 songs, almost, I won't say like an open mic, but it's almost like the next level up from an open mic. They get the chance to play on a nice stage and a nice, in front of a nice audience. And that's where the AWM showcase thing came along. I started doing that in different places all over the place. And it became quite a nice little thing to have on these days, where you get these little, because you get like buskers stages and things like that at certain festivals, but this was just one level up from that. It's like showcasing these artists who wouldn't have the opportunity to play otherwise, and it just kind of developed from there, really. And now I have a whole sort of range of people who I've worked with over the years, and it's been incredible to watch them develop. How when I first met them, they'd have 2 or 3 songs, and then all of a sudden, a few years later now, they're absolutely thriving. They've got, loads of songs. They're playing gigs all over the place, and there's been some real good sort of success stories that have come from that. So
well done.
Nice
Fantastic.
to do that and showcase that. And like I say, this is a great opportunity to put that out and show people what's out there, really.
Yeah. No, fantastic. And we love the range of music that you have, and visitors to the festival love kind of chilling out on a Sunday morning to some really lovely music. And of course, it's not, as you say, it's not stuff that they would necessarily hear elsewhere, because it's stuff that you've brought together, artists that as you say, just a short burst, but really interesting stuff. So yeah, looking forward to seeing them a lot. Well, it's going to be really great to have you with us. 2 weeks, just over 2 weeks away, and time's ticking away rapidly. Hope the to-do list is it all gets done, we look forward to seeing you then. And Alton performs on Sunday on the Orchard, along with the AWM showcase, which, as I say, includes Brooke Telling, Dusky Sunday, Eddie Pocock, False Colours, and Will Foley. Really looking forward to it. Can I play one of your tracks? Which one would you like me to play?
You can play anything you like. You pick a random one and play it. Enjoy it.
Excellent. Thanks, Alton. Really good to speak to you.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Mother, now the time has come at last. We're flying out to fight. The 4 of us have waited for this moment for so long, to stand up for what is right. I know Arthur's just a baby, but we're brothers till the end. He'll never be alone, and we'll be there through whatever lies ahead, and I swear we'll bring him home. Dear mother, I'm so sorry for the news. We lost Bertie in the night, as he offered cover fire for his comrade.
So I'm chatting with Josie Field. She is sitting on her boat near Birmingham, and I'm at home, and we're on Zoom. Josie has played at Deepdale in the past and is playing at Deepdale Festival on Saturday, and we're really looking forward to welcoming her back. How are you? You all right?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. Thanks for having me on the podcast.
Oh, most welcome, most welcome. So how did a South African end up living on a boat near Birmingham and then playing in a barn on the North Norfolk coast?
Okay, so basically my dad is originally from Birmingham, so that's the link.
A fine place to be from.
Yeah, so he moved to South Africa when he was a young man back in the 70s. He was in Joburg. He met my mum. He loved it and he stayed, and subsequently he's still there. He will never leave. He now lives in Cape Town on a beach, and he's living his best life. So that's his story. I never lived in Birmingham. I was born in South Africa, and a couple of years ago I was doing some traveling, myself and my partner, and then we kind of just decided, because I'd done music professionally in South Africa for over 10 years, I took a break from music, did a bit of traveling, and then thought, well, I'd really like to take my music to a different audience. I really want to see what else is out there. So we decided to give Birmingham a try, or the UK at least. I mean, we live on a boat, so we can travel if we need to. And we kind of just ended up here by chance. So yeah, here we are. But we arrived just before COVID and late 2019. So, you know, there wasn't a lot of time before lockdown, and then obviously during lockdown everything kind of stood still, really. So it wasn't the best time for playing gigs or meeting anyone or making connections, but you know, now further down the line, really starting to enjoy music again, starting to meet people and feel connected.
That's cool. Excellent. Well, it's very nice to have you in the UK, so that's great. That's lovely.
Thank you.
And how has the creative process worked for you? You know, like, do you find yourself sort of wistfully looking along the canal and rivers and kind of making songs up that way, or do you have to work really hard at it, or is it, you know, how does it work for you? Or are you still massively influenced by Africa?
Look, it's definitely influenced about the influences come from all over. Personal experience is the main one. I would say when I started writing, like, my writing has kind of changed over time. When I first started writing as a teenager, I didn't know how to write a song. I just listened to the artists that inspired me, and I try to kind of imitate what it was that they were putting together. And so as I kind of learned more and learned from other songwriters and kind of looked into it a little bit, my style has changed. And yeah, it's always changing. I think that's the beauty of being a songwriter, is that it's always changing. And there was a time during lockdown that I thought, oh wow, you know, this is the time when I'm really going to start being productive. I'm really going to start like just writing, you know, because I've got all this time on my hands. What else am I going to do? And the funny thing is that I didn't write at all during lockdown, which sounds shocking. But it was almost like, because it was just such a tricky time. So I just took that time to kind of observe and digest everything that was going on. And now I'm busy writing that stuff. It takes me like quite a long time to take information and then process it into a song. So they had a little bit of a dry spell, but now I've been writing. I've set up a little writing room in the boat. An art trap, as I like to call it, because it's supposed to, every time you walk by it, it's supposed to trap you and then make you sit down and do some writing. So yeah, I'm in a good space now, really good space.
Fantastic. That's great. Well, we're really looking forward to seeing you on at the festival. It's just over 2 weeks away. Can't believe it. I don't know how time flies. It's amazing. And I know the visitors and the music fans are looking forward to you being back on stage at Deepdale. So really lovely to chat with you. Thank you so much. Which track would you like me to play of yours?
So I would like you to play Yolo. There's an acoustic version of that. I don't know if you have access to it. If you do, then great. Otherwise, I'll send that to you. But Yolo is the track, and I think, yeah, it kind of sums up where I'm at creatively at the moment. Yolo, you only live once. You have to, no one else is going to do creative work for you. You need to do it for yourself. And if you have a passion and if you have something that you're excited about, there is no time to waste.
Fantastic. Well, really love to speak to you, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks' time.
See you then. So nice to chat. Have a lovely day.
Sunday afternoon, I got that slow sinking feeling. I have to really think hard about how grateful I am. It's like a weak winter sun, the way that it sinks in. It's like the start of the end. 4 in the morning and I really can't sleep, which is unusual for me. I have no problem dreaming. All of my friends have got things they've achieved. Keep thinking, where have I been? This is my life, this is it. Give it my all, don't you forget. Break me down to build me up, and in the end, you only live once. You only live once. Late for work and my coffee is cold. I got a sneaky suspicion I'll be late getting home. Traffic jams, not going nowhere.
So I'm chatting to David from East Angles Brass. Some of you will remember them from the band that I trooped you up the hill to the corner of a field, and there were the band with their wonderful brass instruments and a drum kit, standing with their backs to the beautiful view across the Branxton State Harbour. And I think a lot of you thought I was insane. The band definitely did when I took them up to that bit of the field, but it was one of the most memorable events we've ever had at the festival, and that was our first year. And it's going to be fantastic to welcome them back for our 2022 festival. They're playing on Saturday in the Orchard, and it will be wonderful to have them back. Hello, David. How are you doing?
Hello, hi Jason. Yeah, I'm great, thank you. Yeah, doing really well. I was just remembering that as well. Playing up on that hill and wondering if anyone was going to actually be there when we played, and then people turned up and it was great. We had a nice little party on the hill. It was
I felt a bit like Pied Piper, sort of taking everyone, whistling everybody out of the campsite and up the hill and into a field. So
yeah, that was great. Yeah, couldn't have gone better, I think. So that was fantastic. We're looking forward to coming back again this year.
Fantastic. And you is this summer been a good one? Has it worked well for you in terms of getting back into gigging and all that sort of stuff?
Absolutely, yeah. It's been our busiest summer. I think what happened with the COVID pandemic, we obviously, no one was playing very much, but I think the good thing for us was as soon as restrictions were lifted, we were able to go and do some, because we're sort of quite mobile when we play. We don't need power or equipment, much equipment other than instruments. We were able to get out and just kind of play on the streets a little bit and bring music back to people. And I think that really worked in our favour in terms of getting our name out a little bit as the first band to be playing after COVID. So we actually picked up quite a lot of good gigs from that. We played Latitude Festival this year and Red Rooster and all sorts of festivals. Actually, we've been doing pretty much a festival a week. And able to release, because we had a bit of time off, we were able to release an EP, which has been going down quite well, and we've been able to sell that at our shows and things like that. So yeah, it's been going pretty well. And we actually we appeared on ITV this summer as well. So that was
fantastic.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, that was just in Norwich, playing outside the cathedral for Kate Lawler on this morning. So so
fantastic.
Yeah, a bit unexpected, but came out of nowhere. But it was and then actually, it was strange the way it worked out, because it was the morning that we played Latitude Festival, which is probably our biggest gig to date. it was the same morning that the ITV recording went out, so it was kind of all of a sudden we felt famous for a day. So.
Very nice, excellent. And you've got quite a few members of the band. How do you write everything, or do you is it sort of a cooperative of kind of thought process while you're doing it?
It tends to vary from tune to tune. When we first started the band, I was sort of writing everything in the old school kind of in the old school sense. I did classical music at university, so I'm kind of quite used to writing lots of dots out for lots of different instrumentalists. I was a kind of composition was my main thing at university, so I was quite used to doing that. But as the band's developed, more people have kind of got involved, and we've had some more sort of collaborative songwriting sessions on various tunes, and in the way that a kind of a more standard pop band would do, I suppose. And my brother, who's also in the band, he's a very good writer and arranger as well, so he's been helping me out a little bit with a bit more recently. So it's kind of, as the band's gone on, it's become more collaborative. It started with me writing and arranging everything in there. Now everyone gets involved a little bit more, which is nice. It's because they things come in that I wouldn't have thought of, and it just makes it a more of a band rather than just me telling everyone what to do.
Yeah, rather than being a band leader, so yeah, that's right. Yeah. And where you you said you got a fair amount actually done while we were in the weirdness. Did you use things like Zoom to kind of link up with the rest of the band, or was that just not really workable in terms of kind of trying to get all the parts sort of written and practiced?
Yeah, not really, to be honest. We obviously we chatted a lot in various groups and amongst ourselves and different sort of bits of the band, but it was mostly just working on our own things separately, and then obviously there's lots of good thing about having lots of time to yourself as a musician is lots of practice time. So hopefully we all got a little bit better at our instruments, and then when we came back, we've not got a huge amount of new material yet. We're still working on some, but it's the stuff that we had on our EP, which came out just after COVID, and we've been working some more covers in there as well. But yeah, it was mostly during the pandemic, just working on our own stuff, and then coming back together afterwards and jamming it out and seeing what we could do, really.
Fantastic. And how did East Angles Brass come about in the originally? Did you kind of go out looking to put together a brass group, or was it something that sort of morphed out of other things you were working on?
Well, the first time a lot of us met each other was in a northern soul band called the Soft Tone Needles, which is still going now, actually. So that was that actually started off. The guy who runs that is our drummer, Dave. So I think that started in 2009 maybe. I finished university in 2010, and it's a bit of a complicated story, but my brother played a gig with Mark, who's our sax player, who was also in the Soft Tone Needles. They said they were looking for a trumpet player, so I joined that. And then gradually, I wasn't massively into kind of, I just didn't know a lot about funk and soul music and stuff like that when I first joined that band. But I started learning more and more, and started getting into the kind of New Orleans brass band tradition of kind of sort of jazz funk and the parading bands in New Orleans and second line bands and things like that. I think from there we started chatting about it sort of as the horn section from that band, along with Dave, the drummer. We were chatting about how good it would be, and how there's nothing like that around here, and it'd be great to start something up. And one day after the start of a new year, and I thought, right, I can't remember what year it was now, maybe 2015 or something. I kind of said, all right, this is for this year. I want to get this brass band started. I want to get it off the ground, and had the first rehearsal in my living room with about 6 horn players, and then sounded all right. Sent a recording to Dave, the drummer, and he was on board. So yeah, we've had a couple of lineup changes since, but it kind of started there really. And obviously it's not, like I said, it's not something that you expect to find around these parts, and people were a bit surprised when they first hear us, I think. But we've managed to gather a bit of a following now, and people know a bit more what to expect from us. So yeah, it's definitely been worthwhile. It's not been everybody's sort of full-time commitment the whole time that we've been going, but I think now that we've started getting busier, it's very much something we're looking forward to doing a lot more.
Brilliant. Well, we love having you at Deepdale. It's been far too long since we had you last, so really looking forward to you coming back. And as I say, East Angle Brass will be on the Orchard stage on Saturday, and David and the rest of the fabulous performers will be there. So I'm really looking forward to that. And if I play a track of yours, what would you like me to give them a sample of, so they sort of know what to expect?
So the track that's kind of our lead track from our EP is called Our Land. It's written by myself and Dave, the drummer. So yeah, hope you enjoy it.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon, David.
Okay, cheers. Bye. See you at Deepdale.
Chatting with the Miracle Cure. They are playing at the Deepdale Festival on Friday in the Brick Barn. Really excited about having them come to play. I have to declare an interest because I am related to one of the members of the band. They're a married couple, and they are Philippa and Elliot. Hi guys, how are you doing?
Hello.
Very well, thank you. Yeah.
So are you enjoying being musicians at the moment? Is it a good time? Are you enjoying gigging and being creative?
Yes, we've been pretty busy recently, actually.
Yeah.
Our average was normally about a gig a month because doing the Miracle Cure stuff is a sort of part-time thing for both of us. But recently we've had a gig almost every week, one way or another. So yeah, it's been great.
You make us sound so busy. 1 gig a week. Wow, the heady heights. I think it's always a good time to be a musician. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's always a good time to be a paid musician, but being a musician is always enjoyable and fun. And
well, you've always loved writing stuff, even when it was just a hobby. You've always created and enjoyed that. And then of course you entertained us at the family reunion, which was superb. And I don't think it's funny because I think a lot of the members of the family hadn't realized just how good you guys were, and they were like, you're just one of the family, so you kind of always assume it's going to be someone playing so chopsticks on the piano, don't you? And then when you two started singing and playing the guitar, oh yeah, they're quite good. Yeah. So it was nice to see their faces. It was really good. So that's cool. And how does the creative process work? Elliot, do you write most of it and then Philippa kind of joins in and kind of helps you kind of mix that up, or what's the process in the household?
Yeah, so the process in the household is I do all of the writing. So I'll have an idea for a song. I'll be really, really happy with it. I'll come and play it to Philippa, and she'll go, so do you want feedback? and I'll say, yeah, of course, I've just written the song, I think it's great. And Philippa will go, well, just this little bit in the song that I don't get that, or that could be better. And I will say, you're wrong, that's the best bit of the song. I can't believe that you're criticizing the best bit of the song. And then maybe 2 weeks later, I'll play a different version of the song that's got that bit changed, but I won't tell Philippa that it was her idea to change it. and she'll go, oh, it's funny that you changed that bit, and I go, yeah, but I was thinking of changing it anyway. and that's really how our creative process in the household goes.
Yeah, we've established a little bit more recently that it's better for you to collaborate with other musicians outside the household. I think that works better in that I think you're more open to feedback from them than from me. But never mind, we get there in the end, don't we?
Yeah.
And then you write a harmony for me, and I'm like, this is really difficult. Why have you written such an impossible harmony? But it's all right, we get there.
Matrimonial bliss.
Yeah.
Never work with your spouse, as they say. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Well, it works. So, whatever works is, I think, the best thing. It's fascinating, because like all the different bands I'm talking to for the podcast, and you've got some bands which have got like sort of, 13 people, and they're kind of spread all over the country, and they're trying to sort of, work collaboratively. And then you've got a couple who've just had a baby living in a house, and that's sort of a whole different level of things. And I just find it fascinating, kind of the process, really. So, and in terms of kind of like the fact that you're doing so many gigs, is this mainly within the Lincolnshire folk thing, or I know you went up to Haddington, didn't you, for a festival up there? What are you finding you're kind of managing to stretch your wings and spread further afield around the UK?
Yeah, I mean, most of our gigs are still in Lincolnshire, but I think what's nice is that there's some events and some venues that we've played before and we get invited back to, and that's always that's reassuring. But I think what we're finding is that we're getting invites always from new people all the time, and that's always good, because it suggests that more, the word is spreading, or more, another person has seen us and then wanted us to play. Because actually we never go out touting for gigs, we just see who invites us along. So
that's true, actually. Yeah, we've never applied to do a gig anywhere. We've got gigs purely off the back of gigs that we've been playing. So we'll play a venue, and somebody will be there who runs a folk club elsewhere and say, oh, you should play our folk club. So we'll play that folk club, and somebody will be there from another folk club. Oh, you should play our folk club. So that's pretty good. We've never touted for business. But I'm thinking about the people listening to this podcast, and like, oh, who should we see? And you're like, oh, the Miracle Cure, we're great because people invite us back. Go and see the Miracle Cure. They play the same venue twice. They don't get food off stage.
It'd be better than if I said no one ever wants us back.
I would have think if that was the case, probably not to mention that in your marketing material. We've never been invited back to the same gig ever.
Actually, the gig that we did play recently that was good was the British Folk Festival in Skegness. That was pretty good. We enjoyed that. We didn't win, but I think we came a close second.
You could have just omitted that whole bit about winning.
Oh.
It was fantastic. I think we played to our biggest crowd ever. That was our biggest gig, I think, wasn't it? Great British Folk Festival.
So what's the British Folk Festival?
It's kind of what it says, really, and they hold it in, I think it's usually Skegness, isn't it? I don't know. That's just a coincidence that we happen to be in Lincolnshire and they're in Skegness, but they basically hire out the entire of Butlands and have a whole weekend festival with acts from all over the country that come. And it's really quite a destination festival, isn't it?
I mean, I think Fairport Convention were playing when we played there. That there's a mixture of very well established major acts and people who are being discovered, I guess, and it was a real privilege to have been invited to do that. We'd love to do it again.
If for any listeners that don't know quite where Skegness is or have experienced Skegness, you can see the bright lights of Skegness from Brancaster Beach on the right evenings. So you just look to the north, and on the other side of the Wash, there is the bright lights of Skegness. With a decent pair of binoculars or bird watching things, you can almost see the fairground rides. So there you go. It's yes.
As it's
Vegas of Lincolnshire or whatever it is. Yeah. Well, really lovely to speak to you guys, and lovely to see you. And we'll see you in a couple of weeks' time. There, as I say, Miracle Cure. The Miracle Cure are playing on Friday in the Brick Barn, and we're really looking to think, what if I played a track of yours, as a sample? What would you like to? What would you like me to play for the listening punters so that they know what to expect at the festival?
I think you should play the song called "Oh Nell," which is our murder ballad. Every folk band needs a good murder ballad.
Excellent.
And yeah, it's a true story. Absolutely everything in it really happened. And I think that's one of the interesting things about folk music, is that folk music is often stories of things that happened to real people, and this is another one of those.
Well, thank you guys, so lovely to speak to you, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you, Jason. See you soon.
There are no new stories under the sun, but here is a tale about Nell and John. On a thundery evening, weighed heavy with sin, Nell picked up a stone and bashed John's head in. Oh, Nell, what have you done? You opened his head and all the blood did run. The house, it cried murder, there was no one to hear. Now how'd you keep your conscience clear? Nell was a singer in the cabaret style. John promised her riches if she'd walk down the aisle. Abandoned her children, across the ocean did run, but nothing she sang would make the riches come. Oh, no.
Chatting to one half of Elizabeth and Jameson, I am talking to Griff on Hannah's Zoom feed. So right. Yes, it'll appear nicely as her rather than him. And Elizabeth and Jameson are playing at Deepdale Festival on Friday in the Orchard. It's going to be great having you with us. I don't think either of you have played at Deepdale before, have you?
No. We haven't. My brother has, though. And my brother's playing again this year. So yeah.
So which one's your brother?
My brother is the bass player in Fred's House, which is my old band.
Right.
Yeah.
Got you. Excellent. That's cool. Excellent. And and it's going to be great having you come to play. How has the creative process been over the last couple of years? Has it been really tough, or have you quite enjoyed the space to kind of do stuff?
Yeah, I think of course, with dare I say the word COVID, kind of forced us to find different avenues, if you see what I mean. So it made us get a lot more technical because of all the Zoom calls and all this sort of thing. But also through that, I kind of started nerding out and becoming a bit more of a producer and recording ourselves and things. So we're just bringing out a brand new EP that's all self-produced, and we've just done ourselves at home. And yeah, we're really pleased with it. So if anything, it's kind of taken us into a different direction to what we were, if you see what I mean. So,
excellent. Okay, yeah. That's cool. And I guess I'm guessing you're using Hannah's Zoom. You must live together, so therefore it's relatively easy to be creative in the same house.
Well, we're married, and we got married in the year of all COVID in 2020, actually. So,
okay.
Yeah, which was kind of weird. We ran away to Gretna Green, and it was just the two of us. So yeah, it was good.
And so, like the creative, I find it fascinating, the creative process for all different bands. But I'm really interested to know how people sort of sharing house. Do you kind of just get inspiration at times, and then kind of like you sit down and have discussions around kitchen table, kind of like do it, or do you try and make it a kind of a point in the day where you're kind of being creative? How does your creativity work?
I think generally it's like the almost the title comes before the actual song for me, and it's almost like I can almost see the back of the CD or the vinyl, you know, and I'm like, what would be a good name for a song, you know? And then, you know, it kind of leaps towards it. Not that they're not done personally. It might just be a phrase in a conversation, and then I can see that text on the back of the vinyl, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I think between Hannah and I think we're a very good mix. I think she won't mind me saying this. I think the initial germ of an idea kind of comes from myself, and then we kind of knock it back and forth like table tennis until we know what type of song is this going to be. And Hannah is just she's a phenomenal lyricist, and you know, she brings the spice of melody with her violin and stuff like that as well, you know. So yeah, I think we're a really good partnership. I've co-written throughout writing, you know. I very rarely write on my own. So yeah, this is certainly the most productive I've been.
That's fantastic. And in terms of kind of what can people expect when they stand in front of the stage and you're playing?
I think I don't know, say strip back good, you know, old-fashioned songwriting, so to speak. You know, it's myself on an acoustic guitar and Hannah plays violin, and we tend to sing as one voice, very similar to Simon and Garfunkel, or a modern reference would be the Milk Carton Kids, which is our thing. You know what I mean? So yeah. I think we've taken inspiration from somebody like the Milk Carton Kids, who we've seen perform in a big theatre, and it's just the two of them, and they managed to fill it. So, you know, I think it gave us a lot of confidence when taking our stuff out on the road and playing big spaces that we have done. Yeah.
And how's gigging been going sort of since COVID retreated a bit?
I think, well, this year in particular, yeah, we're wonderfully busy actually, and with like I said, with us getting technical and things over the last year, it's kind of helped us with different avenues of income. So for example, we will get some session work, whether that's like vocals or Hannah in particular with the violin. I mean, guitarist is a turn a penny, to be honest with you, so I don't really get much for that. But yeah, certainly for violin, and we can record those things remotely for other artists and like corporate things. So yeah, it's really helping us like live more and more as musicians. You know, we've gone part-time with our regular job, so to speak, and yeah. It's filling the void, and hopefully we can tip it all the other way eventually.
Fantastic. That's good.
Yeah.
Well, really lovely to speak to you. This is Griff of Elizabeth and Jameson, and they are playing on Friday in the Orchard. And if you wanted me to, if I played one of your tracks, which one would you like me to play?
Oh, I'll be shameless and plug one of the new ones if that's all right.
Go for it.
So basically, this is called Catching Crickets, and it's off our new EP, Dead Ends and Hand-Me-Downs.
Fabulous. Thank you so much.
All right, diolch yn fawr iawn.
Catching crickets 'cause the butterflies are gone. They said they do it with me, but I guess that I'm the only one. Playing tic-tac-toe with a stick in the sand. My brother is in trouble 'cause he let go of my hand. But we're only catching crickets 'cause the butterflies are gone. Ooh. To go faster, but the boys give me the run around.
I'm chatting with Joel from Sunday Driver, one of the Sunday Driver band members, and they are playing on Sunday in the Orchard, which should be fantastic. And I am really fascinated by this band because it is not your usual sort of folky band that you'd find at Deepdale. This is something quite different. Joel is going to be playing the sitar, and that's not an instrument we've seen at Deepdale very often, I don't think, if ever before. So this is very exciting. So nice to speak to you, Joel. Thanks for joining me.
So I'm going to take Deepdale's sitar cherry.
Yeah.
Amazing.
That's quite cool, isn't it?
Yeah, that's going to sit right up there, actually, on the list of achievements I didn't know I was going to make in my life.
That's fantastic. Well, we've had some interesting instruments, but as far as I know, we haven't had a sitar. Chris will probably listen to this and go, yeah, of course we did. We had that, but as far as I know, we have not had a sitar yet. So.
Probably haven't had the sitar I've got, because it's not well, the one I'm bringing to the gig anyway. It's not a traditional. It's sort of electrified.
Oh wow,
souped up to be able to carry over very loud drums and bass players. Because the first 3 years of the band, when I played the sitar, I spent most of the time just crying because no one could hear me.
That's superb. So how did Sunday Driver come about? So what's
Sunday Driver? So we go way. Yes, sorry. Speaking of you, Sunday Driver go way back. So I was growing up in Cambridge. I grew up in Cambridge and played in a few rock bands. And as I left home and moved into Cambridge City, I decided I wanted to play folk music because I'd never played folk, and I'd sort of been learning various different guitar styles. Like I'd studied a bit of flamenco, not properly. I'm not a proper flamenco guitarist, or a proper guitarist, actually. That's why I now play the sitar.
I think most guitarists aren't proper guitarists.
No one's a proper guitarist, no. Except Shamis in Sunday Driver, he's a proper guitarist. He's very serious about it. So I met Chandy, who's the singer of Sunday Driver, and we formed a quaint folk duet. And at the time I was living with our now bass player Nell. I was house sharing with him, and I played in like he used to sing It Ain't Like That by Alice in Chains in a band we played in, which is, for anyone who knows, that is heavy kind of Seattle grunge thing. And I think, he started playing bass because he lived with us, and Shamis was at school with Mel, so he moved to Cambridge around the same time. This is all like around 2001. So it's a long time back. And we met our harpist, Kat. She won't be bringing the harp to Deepdale, I'm afraid, or herself, actually, unfortunately. But there are plenty of us, so we can live without the odd one. And we formed a kind of fight. So the five of us met in Cambridge, and we experimented with different music, and we experimented with tabla. Chandy's parents are very musical, and mum was particularly musical, brilliant singer, and all of our aunties are fantastic singers. They're from Bangalore, and she introduced me to the sitar and the tabla, and we kind of just sort of mooched about Cambridge playing shows for years, like most bands do. I guess we were making progress in terms of we were experimenting quite hard. We were lucky enough to get some Arts Council funding couple of times, which enabled us to actually record properly, and develop that skill. And then eventually along the lines, we met a proper drummer who is our now drummer, Pete Mansfield. Sunday Driver had many percussionists over the years, many like Spinal Tap level of drummers. So it was really good when we met Pete, who finally had the patience to actually write songs with us, because no drummer could stand being in the room when we were writing over the years, because it's generally been difficult because there's lots of different influences. There's the rock influences, there's sort of Frank Zappa on the guitar influences, Kat's a classical harpist and a jazz clarinet, Chandy's got all these Hindustani influences, and Telugu, which is a particular dialect in South India, so she had all these nursery rhymes in her head, and we started putting those to music in sort of around 2014. And it ended up where we are now with Pete Mansfield on drums, writing the current album that we just released in July, which is Sun God, which is part one of two albums that we've already recorded, which we recorded before the pandemic. And that's our third album, Sun God. And I would say it's kind of, we've achieved the fusion. It's taken a long time, What year is it now?
It's 2022 right now.
It's taken 21 years. Shit. 2 years off. There were obviously kids around then. Chandy and me got married along the way and had a baby. Got a little girl, Leela. So yeah, obviously, as with the band's grown up, and they even came on. We all went on a honeymoon together.
Wow. That's
So
a
me and Cam
close band.
Yeah, we got married in India, and so they all came to India because you've got to go to India if your mates go to India, haven't you? So we're a proper dysfunctional family.
That's great. That's fantastic. That's really cool. And is it nice being back performing?
Actually, I was going to say, so if you just said, what do you think it will feel like performing again?
Yeah.
I'd be like, yeah, it'll be all right. It'll be quite nice. I quite enjoyed sitting in my house watching TV, for a couple of years. But it was quite transformative, actually. It's kind of a big part of you. And doing it. The first thing I actually did was just a small sitar gig for someone's party. And then the next week we did the album launch, and even just playing to like 30 people in a field again, and connecting with people and remembering what it's like to go quiet, and everyone goes quiet and go loud and they start talking a bit more because you're kind of controlling the narrative almost of the room. So when we played in Cambridge on July 22nd or something, it was a little while ago anyway, to launch our album, that was it was very special. And because it was an album launch as well, there was lots of sort of family and friends in there, so it had that personal touch. So it'll be nice to play Deepdale to strangers as well, meet new people and hopefully make some new fans.
Yeah, no, it's going to be great. It's going to be fabulous to have you. So Sunday Driver, as I say, are playing in the Orchard. They're playing on Sunday. Really worth seeing them. Something quite different for Deepdale. And as we know, it's going to be sitar first, which is very exciting. I don't think I've ever seen live sitar playing. I've seen it lots of times on the TV and stuff. So that's going to be very cool in itself. So,
our guitarist does some really interesting things as well. So he's got a bank of pedals, but an acoustic guitar. So there's quite a kind of psyche trippy angle to the overlays he makes. He makes some mad noises. Often when they would record his solos, they would pick the one. This is quite a while ago now, but I remember Samel, our bass player, produces quite a lot of the music with Joe Nicholson, who's our sort of long loving sound tech and has basically made the album for us and couldn't have made it without his generosity and skills. But it's got quite a lovely kind of strange angle to it that's ours.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be great. People, our crowd will absolutely love it. So if I played one of your tracks, which one would you like me to play?
Yeah, as we were saying, play I think Sun Gods, the title track from the album that we've just put out.
Fantastic.
It speaks for what we'll sound like, hopefully.
That's great. And if you haven't got their album, get it. But if you haven't got it when you come to the festival, I'm sure there'll be copies to purchase at the festival. So
it'll be available on 12-inch and CD.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Joel. Really nice to speak to you. And we look forward to seeing you in what's going to be about a week and a half's time. Can't believe it. It's racing away.
Certainly is. I'll see you there.
Thank you. Thanks again for listening, and hope you get a chance to listen to the other parts of this podcast. Day tickets are available for the Deepdale Festival from Thursday the 22nd to Sunday the 25th of September. You can buy tickets for all 4 days of the festival, Saturday and Sunday, or just Sunday. And all the details are online at deepdalefestival.co.uk.
Skies all open wide, geese go high and over. Oh, now you're a beachcomber, a fistful of sandfire, sea, lavender, sea.